Take full ownership. The stupid stuff you doing, your parents didn't make you play no video games. And what you crying about?
It's not your fault that you were born broke, but it's your responsibility to fix it.
The only person that you can actually control, you. That's who has to take ownership.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Rise and shine, it's Espresso Time. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too, and you have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So let's start your day off right together, grab your coffee and sip on today's message from Eric Thomas. Also, if you want to have more motivation and confidence, check out my 254 series. They're free. The link to join on the description below.
Even if you're my closest friend, I have boundaries.
Freshman year in college, me and my boys start like this, Christian, organization.
I'm talking to the creator at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I ain't where I want to be. And I'm like, God, I ain't where I want to be. And he was like, you stop being a victim. I said, what you mean a victim? Well, it ain't my fault my mom got pregnant at 17. It ain't my fault my daddy wasn't there. It ain't my fault they couldn't get along. It ain't my fault. He said, boy, you grown. You ain't 10 no more. The decisions you make right now is up to you. You crying about something that happened to you when you was a kid. You ain't even no kid no more. You a grown man. Take full ownership. The stupid stuff you doing, your parents didn't make you play no video games. And what you crying about? So what, your daddy wasn't there? Your mama ended up getting married. What you crying about? He went to work every day. He never beat you. He never abused you. Your mama did the best she knew how to do. What you crying about? You grew up in a house. What you crying about? You was never sexually assaulted. What you crying about? Did somebody beat your butt because you did something you wasn't supposed to do? What you crying about? Nobody just came home and started whipping you. Man up. Man up, stop crying.
It may not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. It's not your fault that you were born broke, but it's your responsibility to fix it. It's not your fault that you had no education, but it's your responsibility to learn it. It's not your fault that you had no connections, but it's your responsibility to make them. It may not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you're gonna win. So I recently posted to my YouTube community tab a quote about momentum. I think people don't have momentum, and I think the path to get momentum is to do work for free for ideal clients until you can prove your value and then they pay you. So here's what I wrote. I wrote, if you have no momentum, no traction, no clients, and start for free, prove your worth and build momentum. Give them something they can't wait to have again and pay for this time, #believe. And every time I write, there's always tons of great positive feedback. But this time, somebody wrote a kind of negative comment, and so I wanted to read it because it's highly applicable in this video. He said, Kitch, I don't know about some of your advice. Everything is my fault and work for free. To which I reply, yes, when you embrace those two, you'll start crushing your goals. It's a hard message to take on, right? Whether everything is your fault, everything is your responsibility, where you are right now, it's not about beating yourself up. It's not about saying, I suck and I can't get out. It's saying, listen, this is what happened to me. That's the past. The past doesn't have to equal to the future. Everything that I was born into and the circumstances that I grew up with, they don't have to be where I go going forward. Look at all your heroes. Look at the people who've made huge inroads, changed the world, the people that you look up to and aspire to be like. Very few of them were born super wealthy. Most of them had a worse upbringing than you did, and they could make it, so why can't you? You're just locked in your story. Too many people are locked into their story. They're not taking responsibility. They're not saying, this is my problem to get out of. I wasn't put here, right? You've been drafted into a war that you did not start. You were put here, and you have to survive, and then you have to learn to thrive. And it's that decision that you are in charge, that you're responsible, that if you go to the mirror and you say, why am I not achieving my goals? Why am I not further ahead? As long as you're blaming somebody else, that might keep you comfortable. Keeps you comfortable, it means you don't have to do anything, right? You're not winning because your mom hit you. You're not winning because your dad never supported you, right? You're not winning because the school system sucks. As long as there's somebody else to blame, it's comforting. And everybody else around us are doing the same thing. Nobody's taking accountability. Everybody's saying it's somebody else's fault, right? Of course. It's not your fault that you're losing, because then you have to do something about it. And even if you're not losing, you're not hitting the goals as hard as you should. And it's so much easier to put the blame on somebody else and say, well, it's that person's fault. Where really, it's the person in the mirror. It's you, it's me. I am not further ahead in my business, on my YouTube channel, not because of the YouTube algorithm, not because my team didn't deliver the right video on time. Me, I'm the problem. It's my fault. It's my responsibility, right? I have to go fix it. I created this mess. It's not a mess, it's amazing, but I'm not at 10 million subscribers because of me. It's not that people don't want to watch the content and people don't want to be inspired. It's me. I need to get better. I need to improve. And even if it wasn't my fault, just taking that on gives you hope that you can change it. And as soon as you start putting, not even the blame. I think blame is not, I don't think blame helps. I don't care who to blame. I care how do we fix it, right? If there's a problem that happens in my business, it's not like who screwed up. I don't care who screwed up. I care what are we gonna do to make sure that we can get out of this hole and then it doesn't happen again the next time, right? Taking personal accountability for where you're at. If you have not hit your goals, this is good news. You can, but nobody's coming to save you. Nothing's gonna magically change around you. You're the change. You will make the change. You can go make it happen. If I wanna grow my business bigger, I need to accept that I need to grow bigger. Me, personally, Evan Carmichael. It is my fault, it is my responsibility. I am to blame. And use that as a kick forward to say, great. Like at the beginning, it may suck. Say, oh man, I've wasted how many, weeks, months, years going down the wrong path, just casting blame on other people, realizing now it's my fault. Okay, well, what can you do about it? Now you can change it. Like at the start, the realization sucks, but then it's also the greatest thing of all time. If you're coming from under the rock and realize, oh my God, this is all my fault, that gives you the power to fix it. Because as long as you're relying on somebody else to do something and they don't show up, you can constantly blame them, but you're never growing, you're never accomplishing anything because you're waiting for them. You don't have to wait for anybody. It's just you. And you can fix it. You have the strength, you have the power, you're Michael Jordan, you have the abilities, you have the skill set, and if you don't have it yet, you can develop it, you can acquire it. Because your heroes did it, and you can too. So how do you do it? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is accept responsibility for where you're at. Just say, I'm here because of me. Just accept the responsibility. Don't beat yourself up over it. Don't say you've wasted however many years in the same spot, but this is your responsibility now. That where you're at right now is a result of everything that's happened to you and the choices, decisions that you have made. Even if other people have negatively impacted you in some way, it's still your responsibility now to fix it, that you can change it. Just accepting responsibility without the burden and the pain of feeling like you wasted a whole bunch of time, right? It's a clean slate. We're starting over. However old you are, great. You're starting fresh. And you get to create the next 2 decades of your life. How about we make it a masterpiece? Step number 2 is decide what needs to change. You want to make that masterpiece of a life happen? Awesome. What needs to change? Who do you need to become? What are the habits that you need to do? The people that you look up to, respect, admire, who've done what you want to do, who came from worse than where you came from, they've gone off and achieved. What did they do? What actions did they take? What skill sets did they learn? What mindset shifts did they need to make inside them? Who did they start hanging out with, right? All of those. What are the habits? What media did they consume? What books did they read? All of it. Understanding what you need to change allows you to create a roadmap. So you want to build that beautiful life, that amazing life? Amazing. What needs to change? Now, decide what needs to change. You may not even hate your life. That's even worse. If you don't hate your life, it's harder to make growth. If you absolutely hate your life, you say like, this sucks, I'm moving on, you've hit rock bottom, then it's actually very easy to grow. It's when things are just good. You don't hate your life, but it's good, right? Your life is good, you have internet, you have family, it's good. But you know you're capable of more. That's where you need to push. That's where you need to decide, like, what does an amazing life look like? What does a masterpiece of a life look like for you? And write it out and look at it and get emotional. Like, I want that. That must happen. And if you're feeling that, then what has to change in you to go off and make that happen? Decide today. And step number 3 is map your actions to your ambitions. You say you want this. You say you want that masterpiece of a life. You say you want to be here. Great. What are you going to do every week? What are you going to do every day? Your calendar dictates who you are. Success is habits, not some final destination. So how can you map your actions of what you're doing in your calendar to your ambitions to become the person that you want to become and achieve what you want to achieve? So if you've decided, you've taken responsibility for where you're at in life, and it's your responsibility to fix it and change it. You've mapped out what a great life looks like for you. Great. Now break that down. Instead of thinking 10, 20 years out, what are you gonna do today? What are you gonna do this week? Pull out your calendar from Sunday to Sunday and map out where you're gonna be spending your time. And then step above it and look at it and say, if I did these things for the week, if I did those things, will I move closer to building that life that I want? And if it's the yes, amazing, do it. And if it's no, then go fix it. Then all you have to do is get up every day and do the work. Now I have a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, question of the day, I wanna know, what is one change that you need to make in your calendar to better map your actions to your ambitions? What are you gonna change? Let me know, put it down in the comments below. And if you're still here watching this video, I wanna celebrate you. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well.
And as I talk about taking ownership of things, you know, when I get done talking to people, I'll get done and someone will come up to me and they'll say, hey, you know, I really liked what you said about ownership. Now, if I could just get my team to take ownership, we'd be good to go. And then someone else will come up to me and say, hey, I really liked what you said about ownership. That was really cool, man. I appreciate it. And I really hope my coworkers heard you. Because if they would just take ownership, we'd be good to go. And then someone will come up to me and say, hey, man, I really like that whole thing about extreme ownership, and I really hope that my boss was listening. Because if I could just get my boss to take ownership, we'd be good to go. And then I always have to make it crystal clear to them that I'm not talking about their team, and I'm not talking about their coworkers, and I'm not talking to their boss. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. The only person that you can actually control, you. That's who has to take ownership. That's who has to step up, own everything.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.